and the relevant software to carry out the same job at home as he does in the office. The day-to-day tasks as an engineer at Computime, they vary, and you can have anything from the design of a project to the implementation of a project to troubleshooting a current setup and installation. From time to time, we need to migrate and upgrade some hardware and software, and we have to keep up with the trends. IT security as a concept, it is always evolving. Security threats are always emerging, and as an ICT leading company, we have to keep abreast always of the challenges that there are, of the threats that are emerging. So consequently, we have to keep up to date with the products that are always on the market, any hot fixes and patches that we have to update to always keep a step ahead. Other things that we do, we need to get certified. We have to have our own certifications, which are vendor specific for the products which I just showed you on the previous slides. So studying, you still have to study once you leave work, because like I said, you have to keep up with certifications, and most of these certifications expire after a number of time. Also, as a reseller and as a business partner of these vendors, it is required to have some certifications. There is a minimum required, and it pays basically to be certified and to be trained on the products that you are reselling and servicing. And we also, like I mentioned before, we have our own lab setup where we have our products that we can test and try out as we would like. So, business requirements. Basically, our clientele, it spreads from small offices, small businesses, to medium to large businesses, mainly in Malta. However, we have 60 customers in 20 different countries, most of which are based in Malta, North Africa, and in the UK. In times of economic crisis like this, the business requirements tend to be more stringent, whereby the managerial staff and the companies who require some IT services, they are restricted by the budget they can spend. However, they still expect, if they have a necessity or a feature they need in their setup, they have to have it. So basically, usually they buy a product and they expect it to be exploited to the full. This is in contrast with other countries. Other countries might have larger companies, larger budgets, and therefore they can afford to have a number of different products which all do a particular task. On the other hand, if there is a product which can service all these requirements, in Malta, the company is limited, so the resources are more limited. So they expect a single product to carry out all the required tasks. So as an IT security engineer, and myself and my team, it is a challenge to exploit the product and to maximize its functionality, to make sure that the client gets the best return on investment for the money he has spent. As a direct consequence, a case in point is for some of these, the vendors, the products, we exploit them to the full in such a way that we report cases where the product does not function well, whereby other countries and other organizations and similar organizations do not report such bugs or problems. We go into so much detail and exploit the product so much that we come up with problems that even sometimes the vendor themselves, the developers themselves, they do not have solutions for them. Now, another thing, security systems are critical for business to function. When you have a large bank or a large organization, the network perimeter is critical. It's mission critical. You can't have a company with no internet access, or you can't have a company which has a website hosted and internet users cannot access. This is called mission critical, and such applications cannot afford to have any downtime. When there is a service and there is a product, it has to be there 100% all the time. Usually we refer to it by the number of nines. For example, you can't have more than a few minutes or a few hours per year of downtime. In this way, lots of our clients, the high-end clients, have support agreements with us, and they are covered by 24/7 support. And we have to cater for any failures or any problems which might occur. The last thing I would like to talk about is client management. In the business world, basically, one of the largest challenges is from customer to vendor or to service provider, it's client management. Unfortunately, this is not a skill which we learn at university. This is something you have to take up on the job. This is something that you can learn by experience. You get better at it, which you can get tips from your senior engineers or your colleagues. So this is the biggest challenge, basically. They are the source of income. The client is the source of income, and so you have to deal with the client who might not be as technically adept as you are. You have to explain certain things which he might not understand in layman's terms. And there are other situations with high-end clients where we are actually the second or third line of support, because these people have their own setup, they have their own technical stuff, they have their own expertise, and they refer to us only when a problem which they themselves can't solve. When such a problem arises, we have to have a level of expertise which supersedes these technical people. So this is another big challenge. That is the main reason why we have to stay up to date and be certified and know the product inside out. In Malta, we are proud to say that we have most of the largest companies which are ICT based and which offer IT services. They all have, most of the companies at least, have services which are serviced or resold by ourselves. I think that's all. If you have any questions or you would like me to clarify on anything, please let me know. Yes? Yes? I myself, I graduated as an electrical engineer, and I specialized mainly in telecommunications and telecommunications, basically. Yes, apparently the ICT course was introduced exactly as I left, and it would have been the ideal course for me because I ended up doing a job which is more ICT-based than engineering-based. And unfortunately, at the same time, the only effective knowledge which I gained, which I actually used, is the networking section. However, one thing which definitely helps is the engineering mentality. It remains with you. I mean, if you have a problem, there is one thing which we can be proud to say, that the engineering methodology has always remained the same and remains the same, sorry, and it applies to any sector of the industry, basically. There's the methodology, you follow it, and the reasoning, that is the good thing. That is why Technology Solutions employs mainly engineers and people with such a similar background. Yes?
If you were to change something, some of the lectures you attended during university,
yes,
what would you suggest to these students, courses to attend, lectures to attend?
Well, like I said, in my department, we focus mainly on networking and networking security, so that is fundamental. I don't know, I know that the network module I had in my third year and my fourth year, they are effectively a segment of the CCNA course, which is part of the Cisco Certified Network Associate, which is a requirement, basically, if you're working in this. And there's also the other side, where are the .NET and the Java developers, so that's more software and programming. However, I think there are a number of things which could be added. For example, I was never introduced to IT security as a concept, and when I went into Computime, I didn't know, I can't put it in such a way that I didn't know that it exists, but I didn't know that it had the magnitude and the importance that it has, that it actually has. So I think such things would be very relevant to have an idea that these things exist.